Bro, you all right? This is
Hello.
episode 38, I think. Yeah. So, hi, welcome back. Thanks very much for everyone who watched last week. We had another guest. It was a success. Welcome back, Kyle.
Thank you for having me back. Let me back in.
I know
That's your,
we thought about not bothering.
that was your first strike, but to be fair, we've all missed one now, so that's us even. These
Yes.
things happen. These things happen. So, but yeah,
Fine.
back to the three of us this week.
I'm used to the hate. It's fine.
You deserve it.
Well, we usually try and direct it at Greg, but it seems to go to Kyle instead. But
By our loyal fans.
I think it's a tough love kind of scenario. Not so
I think
much
it's just
hate.
pure hatred.
Nah, it's because they love me so much.
That's definitely not that.
Yeah, so on that note, we're kind of back to the normal format this week. So we're going to have a wee discussion about the League Cup first of all. But I'm just starting, I know we're in the afternoon, but I'm just having a wee cheeky one. But I'm bringing back my motto of the week. This week I went for a little local one. I'm a fan. It's Man of Words by the Annandale Distillery. So Annandale Distillery, if you're listening, please sponsor us. I would very much appreciate it. And I will have their share because they're not that... Well, you can try it. It's good. I think you'll like it, Greg.
We'll see.
So yeah, please sponsor us. Right, League Cup. There's been some big upsets so far in terms of results.
There has.
We're still in the group stages, just for clarification. But we're recording this on a Monday afternoon, so I do apologise that we can't talk about the fixtures that are happening on Tuesday. But busy timetables mean we can't always do that.
Yes, and we'll start. Do you want to get Wagner out again, Robert?
I might save him for this time, but I've had him out a lot recently.
You have, but you know well, to be fair, they can't go down, but they are doing absolutely terribly. They've got 3 points from 3 games.
I mean, it couldn't happen to a nicer club, could it?
No, couldn't have happened to
them.
a worse club. Rewarding Jim Goodwin for getting relegated and following it up
for any fans
with a 2-year contract.
For any fans of Still Game, there was a video on Twitter, and it was captioned Aberdeen fans warning the Dundee United fans, and it's the Moneylenders episode from Still Game, and Jack and Victor are going on their tirade. So check that out if you get a chance.
Yes, we can retweet it.
That we showed bias, that's why I didn't retweet it, but I enjoyed it nonetheless.
No, we can show bias.
So do anyway.
So yeah, Dundee United, obviously the headline, day 1 of the League Cup, 1-0 defeat to Spartans. Good result for them.
Yeah, definitely. The thing is, when you get results like that, it's always the big team did this, the big team did that. It's not a team like Spartans have beat them. You know what I mean? It's always a negative point as opposed to a positive point for the smaller team, I would say.
That is true.
Hard work and merit from the Spartans.
Yes. And then they, of course, Dundee United followed that up with a 2-1 loss to Partick Thistle.
They did beat Falkirk, didn't they?
On no, they didn't. They lost on penalties. No, they didn't.
They must have won.
They beat Peterhead. I'm wrong.
Sorry.
Lost on penalties to Falkirk. They beat Peterhead 3-0.
My bad.
Even Queen's done that last year, and we weren't very good either.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes,
So
true. Fire.
What other results have we got that are worth talking about?
St Johnstone, of course, another one of those. Who got beat by Stenhousemuir. Montrose beating St Mirren.
Must have missed that one. It's Denny.
Yeah.
It was all kind of day 1. I think there was less going on last Tuesday night. Of course, we were at Palmerston for
the thriller.
An absolute thriller.
Any more notable ones that we can analyse the Queen's game?
So other kind of upsets. Dumbarton second in that table. After beating Inverness Caledonian Thistle by 2-1. And then, Dundee are third in that group as well. So they are not having the best of times either. They got beat by Airdrie 1-0 at the weekend.
Cove being second over Livingston. I would say that's a shock.
Yeah, Cove, to be fair, at one point of the weekend, they pulled it back to win 3-2. But Cove were getting beat by Brecon at the weekend.
And they beat, is it not 5-2 against Clyde as well? So they're scoring goals.
Yeah.
just put one notable result was I think it was Wednesday night. Edinburgh City went 3-0 up against Kelty Hearts and then Kelty beat them 5-3.
Yes, that was Wednesday night. That's
That was
mad.
Yeah, it was. Was watching updates and it was quite mental.
And of course, just lastly to touch on the kind of a poor result from a Dumfries and Galway point of view, which was Annan being beaten by Albion Rovers, formerly of the SPFL, now of the Lowland League.
Yeah, that was
with
a sore one.
two former Queen's players, Tommy Goss scoring for Annan and Nia Joseph scoring the winner for Albion Rovers.
Having a good start, Annan.
Joseph that scored. I said I didn't realise it was Nia Joseph that scored for Albion.
Yes, after...
So I was going to say, did Dom McMahon play? I wonder.
Yes, both Dom McMahon and Ryan Muir, formerly of Queen's, played on opposing sides of that. Ryan Muir came on for an injury at one point. But after one of you tipping Annan to go through that group or do quite well in that group, they've got no points and a -8 goal difference after 3 games.
That wasn't me. I said I didn't think they were going to do that as well.
No, that was.
Kyle's predictions come to haunt him again. We'll be starting those next week so we can see in numbers how bad he is.
They've had a really rotten start to this season anyway, so -8 goals, 8 points.
It's not great.
Going down.
Nah. Well, I'm looking forward to the predictions starting back up again on a side note.
Yes.
Right, so obviously we were at Palmerston last Tuesday night, and what a game it was for anyone who didn't see it. It was Queen of the South 3, Motherwell 3, and then sadly Motherwell won 5-4 on penalties. However, despite the loss on penalties, it was definitely a great result for us. Kel, do you want to go into some depth of what you thought about the
game? For being 2 divisions below Motherwell, definitely had them shaken for the majority.
Yeah.
Except, I don't know if it was when there was 3-1 or 3-2. That's the only time they looked comfortable, but then Heats didn't drop, so.
Correct.
I'd say we definitely had them. We took them to the end, which was good. We actually scored a fourth. We had a fourth, which was ruled offside.
Yep.
I'd say on that counter attack, we definitely looked dangerous. Kieran McKetchney had some game. Shame that he missed his penalty, but I think he had a really good game. And then he obviously on Saturday he scored again against Elgin, which is good. So I think he'll be a big player for us. I think we had them on the counter attack. Defensively, some of the goals we conceded were a bit poor. However,
2 of them were pretty much carbon copies of the first one and the third one were fairly carbon copies of each other.
You've got to bear in mind that first competitive game. What were we going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say my comment is we were a bit naive at times, which I can understand, but some of the goals would have been solved by sticking a leg out and taking a yellow card.
Yeah, so it's one of these things. But first game of the competitive game of the season against a Premiership side, like Kel said, definitely was a great result, and I walked away happy. I think you did too.
Yeah, there was a period, when Motherwell went in front, that you thought, I'm not sure about this.
That's kind of what you expected when you're playing against the Premiership side that's 2 divisions above. But I think we held our own.
They had their chances as well, of course. They hit the bar. Was that at 3-2? They hit the bar.
Hit the post in the first half, I think.
Yeah.
There's that save with Bottle as well.
Bottle pulled off a great save, yeah. Shout out to Gordo.
Our hero.
Yeah, they had their chances. And
speaking of, you said yellow cards. Ricky Lamey should have been fucking jailed for that tackle.
Right, so let's give a bit of context behind this because it was quite a confusing one. So, Greg, you're the referee.
Yeah, so because where we were standing, I couldn't quite see exactly what happened. But basically, ball went out of play, goal kick was given, which Robert thought was a penalty.
Should have been.
Lammy
should have been.
Takes the Queen's player out, and it's a goal kick, but he still receives a second yellow card. But the goal kick is the restart, I'm assuming, because the ball was off the pitch at the time. Had the ball not been out, it still probably wouldn't have been a penalty because it wasn't on the field of play. If it wasn't on the field of play, then it would be an indirect free kick at the closest point.
And it shouldn't have been given as I can't it was violent conduct, but you're getting no reward for it, really. for him being a fucking thug.
Yeah, no, but it happened off the pitch and the ball had been out. It's just the same as if the ball was out for a throw-in and you punch someone. The game still restarts with a throw-in.
Suppose.
And
but
to
at the same
clarify, it
time,
wasn't violent
a penalty.
conduct. So it was a second yellow. It was, given as a second yellow. Motherwell can't appeal that. There are arguments it could have been red.
He flew into it, that's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Fans on
Bomb
Twitter
scare.
were calling him. Yeah, we're calling him out for that tackle and his performance in general.
A lot of him and Mugabe can't play together anymore.
I think there's some signs for Queens of things we maybe need to think about from that to take a more realistic point of view. And part of my question again, when we were kind of down, was where are the goals coming from? Gavin Riley stepped up, proved me wrong about that. But at times, especially against Lamy and Mugabe, who are both quite big, we didn't really have an outball if it wasn't quick on the counter-attack.
Yeah.
We missed some height.
I do feel that the ball was played a lot better on the ground, though, as opposed to being the kind of traditional Queen's hoofball, so to speak. However, I don't know if that's down to... Well, to be fair, me and a friend of the podcast, actually, that was there, we're talking about it, and obviously Gibson said he was going to refrain from the traditional just hoofing it, and that didn't work. Whereas Marvin said he wants to do the same. He started off as he's said he wants to. However, is that also down to the new pitch because it's looking a lot better?
It is, and I don't know if anyone caught it in Marvin Bartley's post-match interview, but Marvin himself referenced a kind of jibe from a fan in the main stand through the game where Queens tried to play it out. The fan shouted, "Come on, we're not Man City." And after Queens successfully managed to play it out from the back, there was some general applause around them and Marvin just gave him a wee look. Marvin seemed to enjoy that. So we should be seeing some more good football at Palmerston on that regard. In that same way, though, he says he wants to kind of play front foot, press in, pass and football. The main difference for me from Queen's sides of old was the fitness. We looked fit. We looked up for it. We looked fitter than Motherwell. And especially against, I would say, we struggled last year in the league, the year before when we got relegated. Some of that struggle has also been against semi-pro teams.
Yeah.
And if we're exceptionally fit and look like that throughout the season, that fitness can maybe get us through those games.
Yeah, no, I agree. They did definitely look the fitter team. So that's also
generally better from last season.
A more effective pre-season, it seems. So
all we'll say is Peyton who.
I was glad to see Gavin Riley back in the starting 11, and I know a few people didn't seem as keen, but I think he definitely did prove himself to a degree. He's got to continue that. He's got to continue that vein of form, obviously. But
looked a lot sharper.
I think his wee stint out at Stenhousemuir last year maybe gave him the kick up the backside he needed.
But I think it also, proves that Marvin, when he got sent to Stenhousemuir, there was also comments last season about some of this lot won't play for the club again. And given that Riley was the one who was farmed out, that was the obvious candidate. But actually, he's came back, he looks a lot fitter, a lot sharper, as you said, and it proves that Marvin maybe does fancy it if he can maintain that level of fitness.
I think that was also Marvin kind of putting his foot out and saying, no, I'm the boss here. Whereas I think a few previous Queen's managers have been a bit of talk and all bark and no bite, was what I was trying to get across there. So maybe Bartley's trying to prove a point and it's worked, so hopefully that continues.
But on the flip side, he's got no other strikers, so maybe it's just you've got to play because there's nobody else to play for the time being.
That Kyle Cameron we signed from Clyde was back on the bench. Sorry, Kyle Docherty. I'm getting Kyle Docherty and Ennis Cameron mixed up as what's happened there.
Ennis Cameron's starting for Kilmarnock at the minute.
I know, that's mad when you think of his loan spell at Queen's.
Absolute dog meat.
He did say he wanted to bring another striker.
I mean,
he did.
If he gets injured, Riley, then we've not got a lot to hope on.
There was those boys in the pre-season games and the friendlies, but they only signed one of that Harvey Walker. So it's good that he's not just signed folk for the sake of it.
I believe one of the others is signed for Cove, but I can't remember his name.
But they can have him if it's the one I'm thinking of.
Is the two strikers in? Yes.
Yeah, they were pretty guff.
The other thing to add to that is that we also still need to strengthen in defence.
I think we need a bit of experience in some form.
I think Brighton's
Yes.
back this weekend, so there's a
Yes,
Easily
no
good.
Kyle McClelland after his red card against Elgin on Saturday.
needless.
Yes, from what we've heard, it was needless. But again, strength and depth is a good thing, and we need it.
Yeah.
But I heard talk of East coming back, which I find weird.
Given they've just signed away, then no.
He's not at a club, but he didn't want to stay, so I wouldn't keep him.
I think he signed with someone. Didn't
Yeah, he did sign for someone.
He was on trial at Partick, but then he never came in. Maybe he has.
I mean, he signed. Yeah, maybe he hasn't.
I was under the impression that he did.
Yeah, I was under the impression he'd signed for someone as well, but my friend Google seems to suggest otherwise.
I knew he was on trial at Partick, but then he must have played pants because he never got kept on.
Yeah.
I don't think he has. So that is an option, but if he doesn't want to play for the club, then I don't want him.
He wanted to leave in the first place, so I wouldn't have him back.
Correct.
Only want players who want to be there, so that's my
Maybe
opinion.
he wanted to go back up front.
He can. He's a striker.
Play both. Well, tomorrow night Queens play East Fife in the next game in this cup group stage.
That's obviously already happened by the time you hear this, but
yeah.
So let us know how it went in the comments.
Yeah, I'll give my review next week. I'm looking forward to it anyway. Right,
Yes.
And then the day after, I was at Islecroft to watch the Dalby Star versus the Queen of the South reserves, actually, which was quite an interesting watch. Some of those Queen's players looked really good, actually. Shout out to I don't know his name, so forgive me, but the number 11 looked very good, and I could see him breaking into the first team in the not so distant future. He was just looked confident on the ball. He was quick. He just had a bit of pace about him, and I think that's what Queens sometimes miss.
Yes, I think it might have been a trialist. I wasn't quite sure. I tried to do some delving into the team sheets for you, but I couldn't find it out.
Well, I'd definitely sign him if he was a trialist. WT had a slow start. They looked a very young team as well. However, they kind of eased into it. They had more chances than the 4-1 scoreline indicates, I would say. It was a good game to watch. I like going down to Islecroft. It's a good traditional stadium. Shame that they're not in the lower league anymore, but we'll try and get there a bit more often this season, along with like Gretna and such. So yeah.
I won't.
Trip for me. Yeah, you won't. But you have been to other games that we can't go to. You've got one to talk about that was on the socials.
Yes. So unfortunately, as you would know, last week I ended up in Dumfries, so I didn't plan to go to the game that I had planned to go to, which was Haverfordwest County versus some Macedonian team who might be called Skendika, or some version of some consonants. And that, after being 22-1 to win the tie after a 1-0 defeat in Macedonia, I was gutted that I couldn't go, because at the Cardiff City Stadium, Haverfordwest managed to score after about 87 minutes, take the tie to extra time and then penalties, and then their keeper pulled off some absolute heroics. I mean, they will now play a Faroese side in the next round of Conference League qualifying. Again, if they've beat a team from Macedonia, who I think had some European pedigree, they might have reached a group stage before. I certainly had heard of them. To get a Faroese side in the next round gives a massive chance of a big tie for a Welsh side in Conference League. Sadly, though, the game I did go to the week before was Penybont versus FC Santa Coloma from Andorra. That didn't work out so well for them last week in Andorra. They also went to extra time. Sadly, conceded 2 goals in extra time, and that was the end of their European adventure. But I thought they played quite well at Bridgend. They played at the local rugby club, as the football ground was not suitable for UEFA purposes. Very good game, kind of end-to-end, lots of good chances. Andorran side played kind of like you'd expect some sort of Spanish-ish side to play. I know it's not Spain, but it's close enough. Of being quite good in possession and kind of sticking their weight about, but as soon as you touch them, flying on the floor and throwing their hands at the referee.
So 11 Rodgers.
Basically 11 Rodgers. But they did look good.
Who finished higher last season? Like who's technically the higher ranked team?
Penybont finished higher. So the way the Welsh League works, there is a kind of playoff system. So it works kind of, I think I discussed this in Reconstruction very quickly. But like the split in the Scottish Premiership, there's a split in the Welsh Premier, and the winner of the winner of the bottom half plays a playoff against the other team who would be eligible for European football.
Yeah.
So Haverfordwest actually finished top of the bottom half last year, which in a lot of ways makes sense because it means that teams who had a bit of momentum at the end of the year, and if the league hadn't split, might have gone on a charge up the league.
Yeah, it's strange,
get a chance
but
to European football.
it's certainly interesting.
Yes.
If it works, then it works.
Yeah, so I think that's all the games we attended last week.
Yes, and I believe they're the only Haverfordwest are the lowest ranks, but the only Welsh side left.
Well, let's hope they go far.
They won't.
Today, the European draws started for the qualifying for the next stage has been done. So Rangers, they will play. Is it Servette of Switzerland?
Yes, Geneva. They play in Geneva.
Yes, so it's either Servette or Genk
of Belgium.
Yes. So that'll be a hard draw, I think, for Rangers because I could see them playing Genk, but we'll see how it goes. It was funny because I was a Rangers fan on Twitter who put a video up of Alex Ferguson moaning at something, and it was me tomorrow when we draw Genk, and it did actually happen. So, Heart of Midlothian, they've escaped me who they will be playing.
Is it not one of them? Crusaders or Rosenborg?
Yes, I believe it is.
Crusaders of Ireland, Northern
Ireland. Yeah.
Wouldn't want to get that wrong.
No.
And Rosenborg in Norway.
Rosenborg again, massive Champions League pedigree.
Yeah.
Maybe not as big as they used to be, but will still be a tough test for them. You'd expect Rosenborg to get through that. I've just found actually in the same pool as that, Haverfordwest County are playing, or B36 Tórshavn from the Faroe Islands. If Haverfordwest get through, they'll either play Rijeka from Croatia, who again are a side with a bit of European pedigree about them, or some Kosovan side I've never heard of.
Well, hopefully they get through.
Yeah, it would be good.
We'll keep an eye out for them.
That would be some games you could go to, Greg. Take more off the list.
Yeah, hopefully they play in Cardiff again, because otherwise it's 92 miles away, which I don't fancy.
No, it's interesting draws so far, though.
We'll talk
a bit more about that.
Any other big games?
Yeah, I'm actually just checking the scores.
Just European, British teams even.
Just to correct the record, actually, there is another Welsh side left. After getting knocked out Champions League, TNS, I said Welsh side, they're English. Everyone hates them. Who cares? Everyone hates TNS.
We don't care.
They are still in the Conference League playing some other teams. Again, hope they don't get that far. Former Dunfermline striker Declan McManus scored for them in Europe.
I heard that.
Possibly from me.
I don't know how. I knew him for Alloa, but apparently he played for Alloa about 14 years ago, so it's quite a weird one.
Yeah.
I was talking to a friend at the football on Tuesday. That's how we knew this. Yeah. Anyway, is that everyone on European football?
I think so. We'll come back to it when the more qualifiers have been done and the big, obviously the group stage draw's been done. That'll be interesting. We can talk about that.
Are you hoping to get tickets for any of the Rangers qualifiers, Robert?
We'll need to see if it ties in with the old work schedule. But
that is very fair enough.
Hopefully, obviously the issue with European ticket is they sell quickly. So I'm actually debating going to the Rangers Olympiacos friendly on Wednesday, but that's not guaranteed, so I might not. If I've got time, I will. There's a few tickets left I saw this morning, but if I do it, I'll discuss it next week. If not, then just forget about it.
Talking of friendlies, actually, Rangers were beaten by the mighty Newcastle United in a friendly last week.
Tonali makes his debut.
He did. Played again last night in a 3-3 draw against Aston Villa and looked quite good by all accounts.
Were Aston Villa not up 2-0 after 14 minutes, I saw?
Yes, they were.
I see Angela's not doing very well at Tottenham. I don't know what the final score was, but I saw he was losing. He lost his first game, I think.
No, they came back to draw against West Ham, I believe.
Did they?
I thought it was 3-2 to West Ham.
Was it 3-2? Did they get beat?
I'm sure it was 3-2 West Ham.
I remember it was 2-0 and then 2-2. It might have went further. I remember they made 11 changes at half-time, which says a lot.
Well, there was talk. There was a news article I saw that it was thinking that Spurs wanted to buy Kylian Mbappe for 200 million,
Not
which is
happening.
now looks like he might be going to Saudi Arabia after all our discussion about that there's
Yes.
been a bid apparently.
That's a lovely
300 million.
segue, and it won't happen because he's going to sign for Real Madrid next summer.
Oh,
Makes more sense. I think he'd be better going to Real Madrid.
better stayed in Europe at least.
Yeah.
So just
But
gotta
then
leave
again,
his-
he could also go to the Saudi League as a big two fingers up to PSG for a year and then sign for Real Madrid. There's talk that his contract with the Saudi team might allow him to just leave to go to Real Madrid next summer. So we'll see.
which team is it?
Al Ittihad.
Yes, it could be Al Ittihad.
Is that the one that they own? But
Ronaldo's that, isn't it?
Hmm?
that's Al Nazar.
Oh,
It's
sorry,
Al Hilal.
I don't know anything about them.
Nope. I don't know nothing about them either.
I was going to say, is that the team that the PSG owners own, but they're Qatari, so.
Yes, that is the team that signed Koulibaly and Ruben Neves this summer.
Oh,
Did
right.
you see that? Apparently, might be an absolute not true story, but apparently Fabinho's transfer fell through because the breed of dog he has isn't allowed in that country.
Yes,
I've seen that.
quite funny
Yeah,
that they'll let
rightly.
Ronaldo in, but won't let Fabinho's dog in.
So that brings us on to our transfer roundup for this week, which is Kel's segment. So I'll let him do that.
Made a mistake on it, but it's fine. This is one for Greg. It's about Alan St. Maximan. He's joining the Saudi movement. If he's not
Yes.
already, I couldn't quite make heads or tails of the.
Yes, he's
Yeah.
joined, I believe.
Joined.
Lots of Premier League clubs not happy about the fee, which is 30 million plus.
35 I've got.
35. I don't see why they're unhappy. They seem to suggest that what Newcastle are doing is selling it to another club that their owners own at an inflated price. I don't think 35 million is unreasonable for Alan St. Maximan, especially in the current market.
It's not been very
But
good for.
If he was English, he'd be going for 65.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, if he was like, the fact is, he's a Premier League standard good winger. 35 million, if anything, is too cheap.
I think it's because his value is like 20 million or something. I seen.
Yeah, but how do people value? It's the value is how much someone's prepared to pay.
Yes, I guess Newcastle value at 20 million and Ali 35. So.
I think the idea that there's some sort of conspiracy, you've heard it this summer with, Newcastle are going to loan Ruben Neves back. It's not happened yet.
It's not,
That might be why Mbappe's signing for them, so they can loan him to Newcastle this year. Who knows?
I'll wait to see that one happen.
Yeah, shock when he just rocks up in the tune.
Yeah. Eating his Gregs like Sandro Tonali.
I'm off to get me suit measured.
Thank you.
Anyway, so you've got St. Maximan replaced by Harvey Barnes.
Excellent signing.
But it's 39 million, which is quite steep. That's just your English tax, though.
Is it? Yeah. He was the top scorer of anyone who didn't finish in the top half last season.
But they got relegated.
He was the top scorer of anyone who didn't finish in the top half. He's a winger. I feel that Leicester's shite defence wasn't his problem.
It's still a bit of a backhanded compliment at the same time. Like, he scored goals.
It is. I could do alternative. He cost 4 million in Alan St. Maximan and has scored more goals than Alan St. Maximan has in 4 seasons.
Is Barnes not a striker?
Winger.
No, well, a winger.
I guess you call him an inside forward sort of player.
So you've kind of got him, Anthony Gordon, Almiron, Joel, and Isaac Wilson. There's a really good forward signing there. He's homegrown, which is good for Newcastle because they were struggling in that regard. I think he's excellent. I think, yes, they've paid their English tax on him, but the English tax is worth it.
In that sense, yeah, I think so.
Again, if Eddie Howe wants the player, I'm not going to say no. He's proved he knows what he's doing.
Oh,
he's not a bad player by any means. I just think 39 is a bit steep for him.
He is, but think of how much we paid for Anthony Gordon. And by all accounts, Anthony Gordon looked absolutely on it this season. So that is one to watch.
He was also he was 50 million as well.
Exactly.
He's player of the tournament of Euros. He had under 21 Euros, granted, but
They might have a good team to watch. I don't know. Time will tell. This is a strange one. It's maybe happened yet, I don't know. Zaha to Galatasaray.
Has he actually joined yet, or is this just
It's
adding
very,
to
very
the
close.
several teams he's considering offers from?
Well,
Palace also being one of them.
I see he was on his way to Galatasaray in a plane.
I think a post that
Yeah, did I read a Twitter message to say thank you very much to Palace?
I don't know if it was a thank you, but I saw a photo of there's a big mural of him on, a lot of city clubs have the murals. There's one of him and he put a big heart by it.
I can't see, like, it's good for Zaha. He finally gets what he wants.
He gets his European football.
He's older than you think he is.
31.
Yeah, I think he's in his 30s. I'm pretty sure he's in his 30s. And if anything, Palace have a really good group of young players. And the whole, Zaha moving on might actually be good for someone like Elise and an Eze, who are finally starting to break through, to kind of properly break through and go for it.
They can be the star men now.
Yeah.
Really show what they're worth.
Yeah, he's still in talks, but it's looking likely.
Well, I've got down as joining / has joined because I didn't really care what was going on. But yeah, keep your eyes on that one. That could.
Roy Hodgson is still the manager. Did Roy Hodgson get it permanently? The Crystal Palace job.
It's a good question.
Believe he did.
Yeah.
He's about 80 himself.
He's 75, something like that.
He's retired about 10 times.
He has.
Next one is Moussa Diaby joining Villa from Leverkusen. It's a lot of money from Villa. Again, Torres, Diaby, to name two. But will it pay off for them? They have European football.
If the big six are scared of Newcastle, they should also be very scared of Villa.
Yeah.
And they made some good signings, but only if it pays off.
Like when you wrote down in the notes earlier on that I read, it's a signal of intent. I think they're definitely doing the right things. A lot more positive than I think. I think I don't know any Villa fans, but I'm sure if you asked them, they'd be a lot more positive than when Gerrard came in. And that kind of first initial, it wasn't as inspiring as some of the transfers they're making now. Maybe there's some more funding though.
The word Unai Emery is good enough to get any player there, really.
Yeah. As I'm saying, maybe a different colour for a manager now.
We can attract better players with the European football this season.
Yeah, I think they've got Monkey behind the scenes as well, who worked with Emery at Sevilla, who's also considered to be kind of right up there in terms of like actors in the transfer market.
Are Villa Europa League or conference?
It's conference.
Europa, I think. Is it? I don't know.
They finished 7th, didn't they?
Did they? I genuinely can't remember.
We'll find out. Just European football.
It's another point of Diaby about him forcing buyout at Leverkusen the first time round.
Yeah, they forced Leon Bailey out. Leon Bailey has Villa. Yeah, and Leon Bailey hasn't really shown a lot in the Premier League of what he's capable of.
So will they do it again, or will they just kind of shoehorn all these good players in?
They've got a very exciting front line now. Again, as you say, with a lot of these teams, it's how do you put the players in the system? But they've got European football, so they need that depth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was very much a good player. He was very good in the Bundesliga last season, sure.
Yeah. Again, Newcastle considered, he was the name linked with Newcastle as well as Harvey Barnes. I probably rate Diaby a bit more, but Harvey Barnes' stats don't lie. He's proven in the Premier League.
They're both internationals, aren't they? Or is Barnes not done England yet?
Barnes has been capped once by England, which is quite annoying, I believe, because I believe otherwise he would have been Scottish eligible.
Good old Harvey.
How does that work then when you get the likes of Cummings who made an appearance for Scotland but now plays for Australia?
Oh, actually, that's true. If the cap was in a friendly, which it might have been, then that's fine.
It's competitive. No, it's not a competitive game.
We'll see. It's a discussion for another day.
The next one I've got is Arnaut Danjuma from Villarreal joining Everton. I've never really seen him play, so I can't comment.
I've seen him play for Tottenham last year. Wasn't that good? It was a friendly that Harvey Barnes starred on. It was against Wales. So he is still Scottish eligible. Danjuma, who turned Everton down at the last minute in January to go and join Spurs, has now joined Everton this time.
Was it Bournemouth a few years ago?
Yes. And then he left and became really good.
I've noted down he's meant to be really good, but I mean, it is Everton, so
He didn't play amazingly for Spurs from what I've seen second half of last season, but I don't really know.
I knew he was dynamite in Spain. That was about it. Well,
Yeah.
dynamite's a loose term, but he was all right, good enough. Anything else for Dan Juma? No.
No.
I've got none on him.
Right, what's
This
next?
one already talked about, but yesterday, Mbappe plans sitting out his PSG season this season. Sorry, just not playing a game
Yeah,
so he can leave.
or he's just saying that, which I think is probably more likely.
I've seen a photo of him training with the unwanteds of PSG, like Originaldums and such.
That's most of the squad. If they
Yeah.
get injured, they're going to use him. They're going to end up playing him. Like, it's silly not to.
Well, I think he doesn't want to play.
Like, you know, he's contracted to a team. He's not
Yeah.
really a choice.
But
There is
sorry.
I read a report to say from the French Players Union to say that if they're trying to force Mbappe out, which is what it looks like, by saying, you know, you're going to train with the reserves and stuff, there was a statement from the French Professional Football Association basically to say this constitutes like workplace harassment and could constitute a breach of contract. So I don't know if this thing's progressing in that direction.
Yeah.
I think they're both as bad as each other, to be fair.
Yes, they are. Exactly that.
But is he, I've noted this a wee extra point. Is he tarnishing his name with his behaviour?
No.
I thought he might have been.
He's still young. He's got plenty of time on his side. He's won a World Cup. He's been in another World Cup final that wasn't the one they won. He scored a hat trick in that. Yeah, I mean, he's got time on his side as well. Plenty of time to go and win a Champions League with Real Madrid.
How many big players these days are absolute divas? It's very rare to find one who isn't.
I think this has definitely been reported a lot more than some, bar Ronaldo's last season.
I think it's just because he's the next best. Like, he is one of the best things now, but he was the next best thing. I mean, he had Messi and Ronaldo for years, but Mbappe was always on the kind of fringe coming through. Being so young, he kind of got overlooked at times, but now he is the big poster boy. So
it's because we've all known that he was going to sign for Real Madrid. So any developments that mean he might sign for Real Madrid is.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Just interesting to talk about. This is another one. Saudi Arabia linked, as per. Raul Jimenez is joining Fulham, 5.5 million.
Why?
His medicals today. Don't know if it's actually been or not though.
That whoever they had, is it Carlos Vinicius, the other striker they used last year when Mitrovic wasn't available, was absolutely amazing. So I'm assuming Jimenez is joining to sit on the bench if Mitrovic leaves.
Even still, 5.5 million is pretty decent.
He's proven as well.
He was proven before his injury. Whether he's proven now, I'm not so sure you could say.
Before he was burst his heat open, he was quite good, but
yeah.
But then does it spell the end of Mitrovic?
I mean, he's probably away.
He's going anyway, yeah. I think it's
going to the more interesting one from Fulham, in my opinion, is Marco Silva turning the Saudi money down.
I meant to put it in, but I thought it was the manager, so he's done it twice.
Like, I'm not. So that was Al Ahly, so the team that maybe they signed down to Maxman and Marco Silva went nah.
Maybe I don't. They're all kind of like the same team to me. I don't really know how to differentiate.
Exactly, because no one cares about Saudi Arabian football, and no matter who they sign, still no one's going to care.
The only time I know is Al Nassr because they've been in the biggest one for the last 6 months.
Because Ronaldo signed for them.
Yeah, it's about that.
And now all the rest of them are trying to get exposure, but in reality, it's going to be like the MLS or it's going to be like China, where we know people are away, we don't watch it, we occasionally hear or see a goal about it, and we go, no one cares.
We go, where's that player went to? Oh, he's in Saudi Arabia, rather. Is it Al Nassr? Is it Al Halal?
He went to Saudi Arabia. The other thing to say, they obviously don't have financial fair play.
It makes sense, but I didn't realise.
But yes, financial fair play is a UEFA thing. There's also a bigger discussion about whether it's actually working. The argument is probably not. If you ask me now, it's
one of those ones that'll come to the end of the season and then the true colours will come out of the results and such.
Yeah, but it also, like with financial fair play, all it does is perpetuate Europe's top clubs to continue to be Europe's top clubs. As Newcastle are finding out now, it's very difficult to become one of the elite because the elite just steal your players because they can, or buy people in front of you because they can afford it.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to break the glass ceiling, and is actually pushing things closer to a Super League rather than further away.
Yeah. I was going to say just on the money thing, I've seen that Henderson's linked with one of the teams, Steven Gerrard's team, for 700k a week. So it's
mental.
And he is bang average, to say the least.
Liverpool will be quite glad to get some money for him.
Oh, no half.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of money in the transfer fee, but the wages is monstrous.
Yes.
This is just the last one I've got. It's kind of a maybe changed since yesterday. I don't know. Moses Caicedo, his future is up in the air with Chelsea.
As it has been.
Chelsea's the only team really interested in him, from what I could see.
I don't know much about him, to be honest. He's one of the ones on the list that I'm not really clued up on.
Caicedo.
Yeah.
Caicedo, he looks good for Brighton. He was the one linked with Arsenal in January. Chelsea are probably going to sign him for what Arsenal almost bought him for in January, but Brighton didn't want to sell. It's fine though, because Brighton will just find some other youngster from the middle of nowhere and they'll turn out to be class. So
look at that Enciso dude. He did just spawn against Man City.
Yeah. At least Mitoma we kind of knew, because Mitoma left, was the top scorer in Belgian football, came back and it was like, right, he might make an impression now. Whereas that Enciso just, as you say, appeared out of nowhere.
I just turned on the fixture, like the scores, and I've seen Enciso scores. All right, sick.
It's as if Brighton are just playing Football Manager in real life, to be honest.
Yeah.
No, I think that's for the transfers this week.
Everything I've got for this week. There's obviously more, but I don't have time.
That's fine. We'd like to do the highlights. It would take too long if we did them all.
Yeah, I'm just picking big games.
Right. Well, thank you, Kyle, for that. Right, Greg, over to you.
Yes. He's a bit nervous. So Kyle, 2 weeks ago, had a go at the new quiz, the starting 11. Last week, asked our guest. Matt also had a go, managed to get 3 points out of 11. Kyle, of course, completing the whole thing with 11 seconds left on the clock. This week, it is Robert's turn. And Robert, as he says, is very nervous. Same rules.
Actually, I don't know why I'm so nervous. The old ones, like the old category games, I wasn't that nervous for.
Kyle, are you happy to do the clock, or would you like me to do it?
I can do it.
That's grand. 2.5 minutes on the clock. Kyle, if you tell him when he's got a minute left, and then 30 seconds, and then 10 seconds.
Obviously, it was 2.5 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, 2.5 minutes. Robert, remember you have 3 switches. So if you don't like the question, then you can get the question. Your time will start when I finish the first question. Before we do that, would you like set 1 or set 2?
Set 2.
Set 2 it is.
Remember when the first question's finished.
Yeah, time starts when I finish the first question.
When do I give him his heads up? A minute?
Yeah, give him when he's got 10. A minute. Yeah, whatever he wants. Yeah, a minute, 30 seconds, 10 seconds. Right, ready, Robert?
Oh, as ready as I'll ever be.
Right. Number 1, this player wore number 1 for England at the 2014 World Cup.
Joe Hart.
Correct. Number 2, this player scored the winning goal for Hibs in the 2016 Scottish Cup final.
Hellos goes on about him. David Gray.
David Gray, correct. Number 3, this player wore number 3 for Arsenal, Chelsea, and Roma.
Oh. I don't know.
This player wore number 3 for Arsenal, Chelsea, and Roma.
Skip.
Yeah, so we're going to switch. This player wore number 3 for Everton from 2007 to 2020.
Say again, number 3. Arteta. Jagielka.
Nope. Everton, 2007 to 2020.
Neville.
Nope.
Oh, well, I'm stuck here. I'm getting the same as Ash then.
Alternative question, this player wore number 3 for Arsenal, Chelsea, and Roma. This player wore number 3 for Everton from 2007 to 2020.
No, I'm done. I can't.
Both play in the same position.
Arsenal number 3. I don't think it's Mertesacker, but didn't play for Chelsea.
No, both play in the same position. Fullbacks.
It's quite off-putting him sitting smiling.
Maybe not think about Arsenal. Maybe think about one of the other teams in that list.
I can't think. No, I've let myself down now. This is why.
This player wore number 3 for Everton from 2007 to 2020.
You shouted left.
Minute
I know.
left.
Oh, left is also a helpful clue. I didn't know if that's what he was doing.
No, I said minute left, but I'm just staying at the road.
What was the Everton one?
This player wore number
Baines?
3 for Everton. Yes. Number 4. This player now wears number 4 for Arsenal after previously wearing 3 for Brighton and 5 for Leeds. Skip, other switch. This Premier
30
League manager
seconds.
wore number 4 for Spain at Euro 2000.
Oh, I don't know. Ramos.
This Premier League manager wore number 4 for
I never
Spain
heard you
at
say
Euro 2000.
I never heard you say manager. Pep Guardiola.
Correct. Number 5. This Argentinian wore Man United's number 5 before Harry Maguire.
Martinez. That's after, isn't it?
10 seconds. 5.
I don't know. I've given up. That was horrendous.
That's it.
That was it. 4 points.
Oh, that was shocking. I want to redo at some point.
The switch. So this player wore number 3 for Arsenal, Chelsea, and Roma. Kyle.
Ashley Cole.
Ashley Cole.
It's easier when you're not doing it, to be fair, but I should have got that.
You obviously got Leighton Baines. Kyle, this player now wears number 4 for Arsenal after previously wearing 3 for Brighton and 5 for Leeds.
Benjamin White.
Ben White. And the last one, this Argentinian wore Man United's number 5 before Harry Maguire.
Marcos Rojo.
Marcus Rojo.
Yeah, I don't think I would have remembered him. That was very disappointing, but we move. Right, thanks, Craig.
No worries, you might get a chance to improve your score.
Oh, thanks, mate. Yeah, I'll need to make one. I'll need to make one week so you can do it.
Yes.
But yeah,
I don't want to do it. I might need to set myself up for that.
I wish I had a spring on you last minute.
Oh God, no.
Well, I did very disappointing actually. But yeah, that's this week. Thank you very much for listening. We're nearly reaching the big 4-0. I don't know if we've got any.
I've got one more point to add before we do anything. This season we're doing a fantasy football league, so.
Oh yeah.
Yes, we'll share it all over our socials.
Yes, so please join as many folk as possible.
If you want to join. If you don't, then join.
Official Premier League app, English Premier League fantasy football. Try and beat us.
That one there does all this. Carry on.
Yeah, the official Premier League app.
Yes, so some bragging rights up for stake there. So yeah, thank you very much for listening.
Saturday.
Subscribe and all that. Make sure you join our fantasy football as well. And watch everything else that we've already uploaded because you like views. Right, thank you very much. See you later.
Ciao.
Bye.